Hey there, and welcome to the DaveCast. This is a Saturday edition. So I remind you, on Saturdays, we take a break from the regular Bible teaching that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we do something kind of special. Usually it's an interview, and man, I've got a very special interview lined up for us in just a few minutes we'll get to. But first of all, for all the Conyers First people, I want to give you a few announcements about tomorrow's worship. Tomorrow, we'll again have our outdoor worship service at 8:30 and our online service at 11. Remind you, the 8:30 in-person service is you can either drive in and listen on a FM radio signal, or if you want to sit socially distanced in the shade, wearing a mask, you can do that as well. But that's at 8:30. And so tomorrow is also the first Sunday of the month, first Sunday in September, and so that means Holy Communion. It is the first time that we've done it outside, and so we have something very special that we probably need to get used to for the next little while, just out of an abundance of caution. This is an individually contained communion cup. It has a cup with a little wafer, and so as you arrive at the service, if you're doing the drive-in, the parking lot attendants will distribute those to you, and if you're being seated, you'll receive those at the welcome station as you come in. And so at the time of the service that we get to Holy Communion, you'll have that and be able to securely and safely partake of Holy Communion there as well. And so at 11 o'clock, I will be doing it online as well. And so you all will want to get some juice or something like that together with a cracker or some bread and be ready for Holy Communion tomorrow. It's not going to be too much longer until we're back inside. I'm expecting an announcement in just the next few days around that. We have had an online survey going on. I hope that you have participated in that. We'd love your feedback. I can tell you already we've got enough data and information to know that I think we're ready to move back. The numbers are getting lower and lower, and so look for those announcements. One reason you'll want to fill out that survey, though, is it does have some places to volunteer, and we're going to need probably even more volunteers moving inside than we do outside. And so speaking of that, moving inside with an abundance of caution, our special guests today are Don and Sam Swaney. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Don and Sam recently both had COVID-19 and went through that. And so yesterday I sat down by Zoom with them and talked about their experiences with that. And so let's just move right into that Zoom call that I had with them. Today we're excited about welcoming Samantha and Don Swaney, two of our heroes, two of our Rockdale County teachers at Rockdale and Heritage. And so before we get into the main subject, just how's it going? I mean, my wife is in there right now doing stuff, doing grades and things, talking to parents, but I know it's been tough on you guys. So how you doing?
We're doing good. I'm actually at RCA now. I'm not at Heritage anymore. I've moved over. Weirdest transition ever to move schools in the middle of a pandemic. But I just had a faculty meeting, and it's a ton of work, but I feel like it's going really well. How about you?
We're doing okay. It's a bit different. Kids are getting used to it. We're getting used to it. But you can't blame anybody.
But two things about it. First of all, Sam, you were such a legend and a rock star over at Heritage. I mean, I know they hated to lose you over there, but
you know what? The main reason I wanted to leave was because it wasn't about leaving Heritage. At RCA, they get to see students from all three high schools. Mm-hmm. And I really have always kind of loved that about RCA, that to have in my classroom, I have students from Heritage, Rockdale, and Salem. And it's always just been a major draw. And nobody ever leaves RCA, and they had people retiring. Yeah. So I was like, but it's now or never doing it.
Well, and
I miss Heritage, but I love RCA.
Yeah, and just spreading out that Sam Swaney all over the place, right?
I know about that, but
yeah. So, and Don, you know, I know you're a legend there at your school, but also
he's a legend.
You teach some kids that it would seem like it would be difficult for some of this transition stuff that's going down.
Yeah, I'm on the phone a lot with parents just to help with technical issues. And, you know, there's a lot of kids that you can just say, hey, email me your assignment or whatever. And my students, that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Just opening an email and all that. So we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of drawbacks, and I think everybody would prefer being in person. But I've been impressed with some of the positivity that you guys have expressed on some posts and stuff. So what's some good things that's come out of it that you see?
I think for me, one of my favorite things is it's really practical, and I just realized it, I think yesterday or the day before. I'm seeing more written communication with my students sooner than I ever have. Normally, when we do journals at the very beginning of class, I won't read their journals until about the 4th week of school because I collect them. I'll have them writing every single day, but then I'll collect them 4 weeks in while they're taking a test. And that'll be some of the first time I've looked at some of their really personal stuff. Now they're writing it, and I've read stuff from all of my students. 2nd week of school, I've already read 3 journal entries from them, and we're messaging back and forth constantly. So I've seen where I'm getting to know them in the written in a way that I never have before. And it's really been cool because I just had a student just now. She was worried about a grade, and she didn't realize the way she was writing me was kind of rude. It was like, hey, I need you to look at da-da-da. And she's just panicking, and she's 14, So I just wrote her back and said, hey, listen, I know we don't know each other well yet, but I just wanted to encourage you that maybe if you try to use please and maybe end with what more can I do? She immediately responded with, I'm so sorry, Miss Swaney. I'm really freaking out about my grade. I apologize if I was rude. And I mean, the rest of it was so sweet. And then we don't get chances to model that kind of communication like that, like we are right now. All of us, teachers across the world.
Sure. And that's one of the downfalls of written email text communication.
Yeah.
It's so easily misunderstood.
Absolutely.
People can imply in one word or one phrase something that wasn't intended at all.
That's exactly right.
So tell folks what you teach, though. I mean, some people may not know what you teach.
I teach 9th grade English literature. I have been teaching other grades before. This is my first year back with 9th grade. And years I teach creative writing and research, but this year it's 9th grade English lit.
Yeah.
I've got 11th grade English and 12th grade English this year. And another good thing about ours is I have some students, with social emotional issues and autism and stuff. And in this classroom where they're typing in their answer in the chat and all that, man, some of those kids are coming alive. You would never hear from them in a normal classroom.
Good. So there's positive things. We look at positive things that we've learned through this, and what are the things that we can utilize or learn from going forward. So I know there's going to be some sort of unpacking of that next year. I'm going to move into the main reason I wanted to talk with y'all. I've been very concerned about you all because if folks watching this don't know, that the Swaneys had a bout with COVID. I know that Don was, were you ever officially, did you ever get tested? You had it. Y'all both.
Yeah, both of us.
Yeah.
Both of
So
us.
tell us about it. What was it like? What was it like for you? I know it's different from person to person, and how long did it last, and just kind of the whole experience.
You want to start us?
Yeah, it was like a real bad flu. I had all the symptoms except for the loss of smell. I didn't have that, or the loss of taste, but it was just knock you straight on your back type of flu where you're achy all over and, the coughing and the fever. Mm-hmm. And my fever was about 2.5 days. And then when it finally broke, started clearing up. It was a tough couple of days. Samantha was real worried. One of the problems, emotionally about the whole thing is regular flu is no good, but then this is, hey, it's not just a regular flu. You might die, brother. And so, we're real worried. Samantha was pretty worried about that.
I had a good friend, Steve Miner, who was a deputy, and he was our SRO at Heritage and over at Edwards, and he passed. He was one of the best people I've ever met. And I just kept thinking about Steve. Steve, this big, strong policeman, And we've had other people close to us as well, but especially Steve, I just kept thinking about.
Right. And so Sam, how was it for you?
Mine was different. He caught it first, and we honestly, I was trying to convince myself that he just had the flu. And so even though I didn't sleep in the bed with him, I stayed in the room. And I honestly also, I never get sick. I've never had the flu. I never get sick. So I didn't think I could catch anything that he had. So I was in the room playing worship music, worrying, praying, reading the Bible over him. And once he got well, I started to get sick, and I thought it was allergies. So I started getting sick, and I was sick longer than he was. I was sick for more like about 12 days.
Yeah.
I had the loss of smell, and I didn't tell anybody because I felt like if I said something about losing the sense of smell and the sense of taste, that it would be real. So I didn't say anything. But the good thing for us is we've been really, really careful because mom and dad, we want to be around mom and dad.
Sure, right.
Because whenever they give us access to Don's mom, we wanted to be able to go right away. So we didn't have to tell many people when Don got sick. We told people, we didn't have to tell many, and we just stayed in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't see anybody. I haven't seen mom and dad in 4 weeks. And we just didn't go anywhere or tell it or do anything at all. We let people know that we were sick, but my brother's a nurse, and I have 3 or 4 friends that I stayed texting with the whole time, and they were just telling us what to do. And so what we did was, while Don was sick, we were really watching his temperature closely. So we were giving him a ton of vitamin supplements and then also green juicing. Yeah. And we juiced everything. And he drank it all. And I had lost my sense of smell, so I had no idea how bad some of it was. But he was a really good trooper. One time I put broccoli in the juice. It was disgusting. Don't ever juice broccoli. It's so gross.
Don't do that to anybody.
He drank it, though. But look, it had so much good stuff. Yeah. I know it was awful. It was terrible.
So Paige McCord is one of your friends. She's been incredibly helpful to me with some information a couple times, but mostly an encouragement and telling me that some of the decisions we made at the church, that we've been doing the right thing. And I know Don's on the board, and to put it mildly, we haven't been of one mind. Our country's not of one mind. Our community is not of one mind. One of the reasons I wanted to talk with you all, because you have such an integrity and people have such confidence in you to let people know that this is real. I mean, we're at a point now transitioning where we're probably looking at going back to live worship here in a very short while. The numbers in Rockdale are way down. And it's funny, I was talking to another friend this morning. I've been meaning to talk to Sam for like a couple of months because, we share a lot of the same theology, but there's some theologicals where you might slant off a little bit different than I do. One of the things I'm really careful about is telling people that God told me something.
Right.
And I respect people who say that. And I know probably people as a pastor, you expect me to say that, but I just don't want to use it in a way that people will think I'm one-upping them to win an argument. But I have had such a strong sense through this whole thing of protecting people, that we had this precious congregation that had this combination of people like, Joe Trainer, 95 years old. The first time we were open, she's there. It's her church. She's going to be there.
Right.
And then we have this other folks that maybe not take it quite serious. And that combination, that I just felt God telling me it's not going to be good if you rush into this. I feel a lot more peace about it now, but I just wanted to reach out to you and talk about that a little bit.
Well, we've been praying for you and for leaders, for our superintendent, for everybody who owns a business, because it's an impossible situation, honestly, because no one, we're all just walking in such faith right now, just trust in the Lord. I think right now, I look around, like I was up at school today to go into my classroom, and what I noticed is everybody is now not everybody, but the people I've been around and the people Don has been around are being naturally a lot more careful maybe than 3 months ago. people are naturally not getting as close to each other, naturally not hugging, even though they want to. And so when I see churches starting to move back towards coming together, I remember at the very beginning of all this, people were still going, you know what? I don't even believe this. I'm going to hug you anyway. And I mean, I'm sure I said it too. I'm sure I did. But now you see fewer people doing that. Everybody's being a little bit more careful. And I mean, I miss hugging, but I think that's wise.
Right.
We can be together if we know we can trust each other.
Yeah, we can learn other ways of being together, and then when we get the hug, it's going to be even, ever so more special. I was thinking about, like, with the worship and stuff. You probably know the story. What was the name of the song? It was a Matt Myers song, but you'll think of it in a second. But they had a season where they did not sing, they did not worship, and then God gave him the song. So when they came back, this would be so much more powerful if I remember the song. It's one of those classic, 1995 songs.
Those were good.
Yeah. But if I remember it, I'll put it in the notes of this later. But, so when they came back, worship was just even more, intense and special. And so, where we get out of, some of the things that we have loved, and maybe that we maybe find other avenues of being together and being in community. So I just, as a word of caution, as we look as a congregation of transitioning back, what would be y'all's word for the church people?
I think whatever you do it with faith.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer, taking care of ourselves before we're together in the room, making sure that people are, doing all the basic stuff that everyone's telling us: wash your hands, don't touch your face, be careful when you hug, take supplements, all those things. But I think also just we as a people, and by we, I mean all of us on the planet, but especially, we can't speak to the non-believers, but for believers, we have got to get on our faces and ask the Lord for wisdom. We've got to ask him for a cure. We've got to ask him for wisdom. And I think honestly, that is bottom line. It's not practical.
Mm-hmm.
It's practical as far as like, this is what you do to avoid a pandemic or getting sick. But to me, it's the most important thing that we as believers can be doing. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking of the verse Paul told Timothy, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. And I've heard fear at the church, from our church people. I've heard fear on both sides. Fear of, oh my gosh, we don't want anybody to get sick, and let's go crazy with that. And then on the other side, hey, we'll lose members if we don't do this right. Fear on
that a lot, yeah.
And the Lord has He's given us a power, love, and a sound mind. That's what He's given us.
Yeah. I've always thought the scripture that kept coming to me is we're not supposed to tempt God either. And so, running into doing something so foolish is... Be
wise, yeah.
It's okay to have sense, man.
Yeah.
A little bit of sense.
And the thing is when Don was so sick, here he is, he's laying in the bed, he's got this disease that's killed at least one of my friends, this virus. And I'm sitting, and that's something I struggle with, is fear. And so that's part of my testimony is the Lord keeps bringing me through in the fear. But when I was praying one night, we have a good friend that Dawn works with, and I had messaged her and I was like, help, I don't know what to pray right now. I'm so sunk in fear right now. Help me. And one of the things that she reminded me was of Psalm 91, right? And so I was just praying, because that's the perfect psalm to pray when you're freaked out and you don't know what else to do. And so I was praying it over Don, and he's way over there on the other side of the room. I've got a fan going, so he kind of can't hear me because I don't want to wake him up. But I'm praying over him, and I got to the part where it says that no pestilence and no plague will take you out, basically, paraphrasing. But when I got to it, I had this moment, and I've been thinking a lot about healing and about the way healing is preached about, and why do some people die and some people don't die, and this person gets healed in that. And I don't know the answer. I don't. I'm going to know it when I look at him in the face one day. But when I was reading, I thought, his word, Hebrews says the word of God is living and active. It's alive. And he says right here to hide myself in the shadow of his wings. and he'll keep me safe in that place. And I had this rush of faith, not in whether or not Don was going to live. At that point, I didn't think I was going to get sick. None of that. It was this rush of faith in our God. I hide myself in the shadow of his wings, whatever that looks like. And, you know, I hate it that for me, it's always an emergency moment, you know, that I get these great revelations from the Lord that you can't put into words. I don't have any new thoughts about it. It's a feeling. It's this thing that he did in that moment. I don't know, just faith. And I just was praying this thing, and I thought, I don't know. What I do know is no matter what happens, he's got me.
To quote Paige McCord again, that was one of the things she said in one of the videos we did, God's got this. And I do believe that in ways that we don't even realize, God's got this. Psalm 91, I just want to go back to that. That's such a great psalm.
Yeah.
And it came up, I preached it a few weeks ago. I don't know, that might when y'all were sick, but during this season of time, you know, we've been doing sermon series, but I just looking from week to week, I've just been doing the lectionary. And it was a lectionary psalm. It was like,
so good.
You can't, you know, the Holy Spirit worked for that. It just like, I wouldn't, I know people think I picked this out. I didn't.
Right.
It was.
That's even cooler though. The Holy Spirit knew what that week was going to be.
It's amazing how many times that happens. But anyway, love you guys. Appreciate y'all's leadership. I know y'all been doing online small groups and Bible studies and keeping things going that way. And Don's been a big part of the leadership board, and we've had to, you know, had to trial by fire too, you know, trying to sort through the wisdom of all of that. But you know, I'm thankful. The numbers in Rockdale are down.
Me too.
Way down. And I do credit, you know, part of it, most of it to God, but Terry Oates and the decision to. That I think. That's what's different than the other counties that were around. I mean, we're doing well. So,
dude, Dr. Oates, man, this guy is. I can't say enough good. He's moving fearlessly.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of pushback, and I just really respect. I really respect how he's just saying, "This is what we're going to do. We're just going to do it."
Yeah.
I love my students who are upset with him right now about sports and stuff, but man, I just keep praying for him that he'll just continue to seek God.
Yeah, and I understand. Like I visited a woman the other day. She's in our church, and Betty Keenan. I'll just go ahead and mention her name and pray for her. She's a precious woman who comes to the 11 o'clock services to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is so we went. She's been diagnosed with brain cancer, and she's got 2 months, and she wants to get back to church so bad. And so, I mean, I hurt for that. She's watching online, but you know, she wants to be back.
It's different,
and so, that's just the reluctancy of what to do with that. We all know the same people here in town. We know a lot of small business owners, right? And I've seen the struggle that they've had, and I hate for them and how that's affecting, because they were doing so well, and just a lot of the resurgence at Old Town were Awake and 10 Plate and some of our other favorites around. So we're going to get through this. Conyers going to be strong. Conyers going to be strong. We're going to get through it. Conyers First is going to be strong. We're going to continue to bring the hope and make disciples and transform the community. So love you guys. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being heroes with our students and leaders in our church. And we'll see you real soon.
Yes, sir. We love you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much, Sam and Don. Give us some great information. What great people, what great leaders that we have for our community, for our students, but for our church. We are blessed by the Swaneys. But listen to their wisdom. As we move back inside, we need to be very cautious that the COVID is real. Right now in our church, we've had several people that have had it. We have had no older people that have had it. We've had a woman who was in her about 50 years old, if that's an older woman, but I think of it as being young. But the rest of the people we've had have been like Don and Sam. Right now, Colin Henderson, our praise band leader, has COVID. Maybe some of his family members, and we have another couple that are in their 30s that have COVID. So it's a very real, and so we want to be very, very careful and very, very safe. But the goal has always been to move back inside, and so what a glorious day that will be when we're able to do that. But listen to what they said about continuing to pray and be on our knees about having a vaccine to come along and to move on past this. But anyway, it's been great sharing with you here on this Saturday. Keep bringing the hope, and we'll look forward to being with you in worship tomorrow. God bless.
I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made when it's all